I better not hear those clanking throughout the recording.
My hands are in my pockets.
I know.
So
Get them off the deck.
when we
table.
talk board game accessories.
Yeah, that's fine. That's right. All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 42 of the Board Game Gateway podcast. My name is Neva, and I'm joined by two of my lovely co-hosts. That's the word I'm trying to say.
That's right. We have been adopted by Neva. Thank you for taking us in.
You're more than welcome. I hope the dog bed is more than comfortable for you. That was Damien who was speaking there, but also the quiet one of the group is Mr. Ralph.
Hi everyone. It's the first time someone's called me quiet.
That's true.
I'll take it. Look, I'll take
I'm
it.
sorry. If this is the first time that you're listening to the Board Game Gateway podcast, we're your entryway into the world of board gaming and fun times. And in this episode, we aim to answer the question of life, everything, and your Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's episode
the universe.
42. Universe and everything. Is board gaming's the answer, or the question to that answer, which is 42? I don't know. We'll find out.
42 board games is the perfect size collection.
I did actually think about that. I
Yeah.
go like, if 40, the answer to life and everything.
You need to find the perfect 42 board games to fit your Calex.
Oh god,
that sounds like maybe we can think about that. We can
You know what,
ponder
that's
that
actually
one. That's a good challenge.
patent pending. We'll do that.
Yeah,
We'll do that in another episode.
That's good.
No, I'm twitching already.
The Hitchhiker's Guide.
42
to the
games?
Galaxy.
No,
Right.
no.
Oh, God. On this week's episode, we are going to be having a chat about a few different games. We're going to be having a chat about the auction game Nidavellir. We're going to be having a chat about one of the new, this year's, not Spiel des Jahres, I believe it was the Kennerspiel des Jahres winner, the Challengers. And we're also going to be having a quick chat about Fit to Print, a new Kickstarter release that has now made its way to our shore. And finally, rounding out the podcast, we'll be talking about our gateway game of the week this week, which is Spots. And we'll be having a little bit of a chat at the end about board game accessories. We like to accessorize.
We do.
Accessorize. And we're going to have a talk about all of the fun things that you can do. But guys, welcome back. It's lovely to have us all around the mics once again. I've been missing all of this chat and playing. It's been a bit of a quiet 2 weeks, but we did get a couple of games to the table. Damo, we're going to start with you though, because you got delivered to your doors the new Tetris-like game, I guess you could call it, kind of newspaper theme called Fit to Print.
Kind of, yeah. So, Fit to Print is a new game by Flat Out Games. So, games publishers who brought us Cascadia, which is a game that we really liked and we reviewed a few episodes ago.
We did.
Calico, which was a sort of hit with some, not so much with others.
The hex-based tile laying game about making a nice calico rug for cats to sleep on.
But they've really been on a tear lately because they also brought out Point City, Point Salad, Verdant, I think is another one that they've brought out. So look, they've just been absolutely smashing it. Fit to Print is no exception to that. It also helps that the artwork is done by the little-known designer Ian O'Toole, who's just done a few games.
Yeah,
so
just a few in the
just a few in the hobby.
Yeah.
But look, jokes aside, Ian's work is sensational.
It lifts any game I've seen.
Absolutely, absolutely, and Fit to Print is no exception there. But essentially, what you are doing in this game is over 3 days. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you are filling out your newspaper front page. That is your goal. You represent an editor for a newspaper, and you are filling out these newspaper pages.
But not a human editor. Oh
no! You are an animorph.
Animorph?
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds
Animaniac.
No, essentially animals that are made to look human.
It's like
there is a term.
It's like
I can't
Zootopia,
pronounce.
right?
Yes, basically.
It's Zootopia.
Basically. So, you are an editor of a newspaper, and on your turn, what you will be doing is you will be filling out this newspaper via 3 phases, and all 3 of these phases are justified by a clock. Now, at the beginning of the game, you decide amongst the group how long each round lasts for. The game says 3, 4, or 5, but the truth is I've played it with my kids, and we just kind of went, let's make it 8. So my youngest son, just to give him a bit more time. So phase 1 of the round is you have all of these tiles in front of you face down. And Galaxy Trucker style, what you are doing is you are taking one of these tiles with just one hand. You are not allowed to use two hands. So one hand, you take a tile, you flip it, and if you want to keep it, you put it on your desk.
But do you have to make that decision so rapidly like Galaxy Trucker?
I will come back to that because
Okay.
the decision is actually a little bit different, and it's just different. I'm not
Sure.
going to say it's better or worse.
Looking
I'm just
forward
saying
to
it's different.
So you're committing to put it on your
Not
newspaper?
necessarily.
Right, okay.
Not necessarily. So if you put it on your desk, you are committing to using it. Otherwise, just like in Galaxy Trucker, you put it back on the table, face up, available for anyone else to pick up.
Cool.
And you will do this until you are happy with the number of tiles you have on your desk, and then you say layout, and at that point
You have to say it like that.
you have to say
Layout.
it. Layout. To say it loud enough because
I like
I
to
got
imagine-
accused of not being loud enough.
Oh, so it's like
and
Uno. You have to say. You
you
have to make sure
say
people hear it.
I like to imagine that that's what they yell out in the editorial room in the newspapers. Layout! And then
Yeah.
everyone just starts doing random, like, oh,
Yeah.
God,
Yeah,
drop
pretty
what
much.
we're doing.
Like I just yell star jumps at work and see Joe from the accounting just jumping up and down. Like,
God.
So you do that, and then it's at that point you take the pieces that you have reserved and you start filling out your paper. Now, it wouldn't be a game unless there were rules around
or star jumps.
or star jumps. Okay, so yes, you may do star jumps while you are filling out the paper. I don't know if that's going to lead to success, but I tell you what, rock hard abadabbas, you're on your way. So
I have no idea what that sentence was, but I think it was
Yabba dabba doo.
I think it was in
for
context.
anyone listening, can you please reach out to us if you know what I meant by rock hard abadabbas? You officially are part of the full frontal generation, and you are awesome.
And also, if for those listening that don't know what that is, let us know.
And for everyone else, click the like and subscribe
Yeah.
button on that YouTube part down below. Why not?
Now,
Oh, I snuck it in there.
the rules around placing the various things on your newspaper are:
Yeah.
so you will have advertisements,
Mm-hmm.
you will have news articles, and you will have images for those articles.
Love that.
Here are the rules: 2 ads cannot touch, or
Okay.
ads cannot touch
Of course
each other.
not, because that'd just be ridiculous.
That's just ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Images cannot touch each other.
Now, that sounds weird.
And
why not?
articles of the same type. Each article will have a color associated with it. So
Yeah.
it'll be either blue, green, or pink.
Mhm.
And pink articles can't touch, blue articles can't touch, so on and so forth.
Because no
Okay,
one wants
cool.
to read 2 sport articles back to back. They want to have sport followed by
That's
politics.
It
Mate,
gets better.
After I read 2 Kylie Jenner stories, that's it. It's
Oh, how does it get better, Damo?
Gets
Please.
better. Each article also has a happiness rating associated to it.
Oh, no.
And it's a newspaper. Can't be too happy. It can't be too sad. It has to be balanced. And not all articles will have a single happy or smiley face, also a single happy face or sad face on it. Some will have 2.
Oh,
Some
no.
will have, I haven't seen any with 3, but there's definitely
Yeah,
1
sure.
or 2.
So balance is out of whack.
You have to
Yeah.
balance everything.
Cool.
If your balance is out of whack, that is negative points.
Cool.
Right.
If there are any pieces on your desk that you haven't used, that's also negative points.
Awesome.
The person who has the largest block of white space on the newspaper at the end of the round, also negative points. But once you are happy with your newspaper and you think you've achieved the best possible outcome, you then yell out print. And at that point, the round immediately ends. So
Sweet.
Oh,
Galaxy
jeez.
Trucker
So that's
style.
where it is a race to place your little.
So
That's
you,
right.
you can't be taking
paper.
too long to do anything because
That's
if someone
right.
could yell out
That's
print.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Okay.
It sounded like a chill Azul, you know, like you just grab your
Kind
tile
of.
and put it there, but now there's this race element.
That's
to
right.
it, Yeah.
Now, this is kind of where it sort of stops being similar to Galaxy Trucker. Galaxy Trucker has a game afterwards. So the whole fitting
The
out
journey,
the ship.
yeah.
Just
Just watching your ship explode or hopefully not
exactly right.
exploding.
Yeah. Whereas fit to print, that is the game.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's still cool.
It
Sounds
cool.
great.
It's super chill. The game is over in 15 minutes. That was what I loved about it.
15 minutes, really?
15 minutes.
Jeez.
Okay. With the teach, it was 25 minutes.
Wow.
And then we basically reload, win again.
So in one game, how many newspapers do you make?
3.
Okay.
So Saturday, Sunday,
Friday, Saturday.
Saturday, Sunday.
Yep.
The newspapers get progressively bigger.
Okay.
In addition, every single day you start off with a centerpiece, and the centerpiece will be worth. Will provide a bonus, almost like a goal that you'll have. So you'll say, you'll get additional points for every blue article,
Okay.
or
cool.
you'll get additional points or adverts are worth additional an additional amount of money.
Okay.
There is one other rub with the game regarding adverts, and I didn't explain this. Adverts just give you money, and money doesn't mean too much in the game. There are some bonuses that will say, hey, if you whatever amount of money you get in this round, you convert that to points.
Right.
But the kicker is whoever has the least amount of money generated at the end of the game just loses. Doesn't matter how many points you have, you just lose.
Because your newspaper went bankrupt
Exactly
from not
right.
being able
It's
to
pretty
continue
much
to
like
support itself. Right.
So
Okay.
it's a high society
Yeah,
thing where you can have the most amount of points, but if you have the least amount of money,
So it's
No.
not it's not really a family friendly game
Well-
in terms of you just lost because you suck.
Yeah. So when playing with my sisters and my brother-in-laws, we played with the full rules, and it's a ton of laughs. The
Yeah.
cool thing about it is that when playing with the kids, we just omit that rule.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it doesn't take away from the game. The game is super deep though, because I just explained the entry version. When you play the game a couple of times, or after you've played the game a couple of times, you then get goal cards. So you'll get one for Friday, one for Saturday, one for Sunday, and you flip it, similar to Quacks of Quedlinburg, and
Yeah.
that'll be a goal.
Is that a public
available.
goal for all
It's
the
a public
players?
goal,
Okay.
yes.
Yep.
So it'll be a public goal for all the players, and then everyone can aim towards that.
Awesome.
Okay.
I haven't played with those too much.
Okay.
Again, mostly because I've been playing this with the kids.
Yep.
But it's great. It's chaos. It's just like you say, all right, kids. So we played with 8 minutes in the first game. We're only going to play it with 4. I think you guys have got the hang of it, the hang of it now.
Cool.
And just watching these tiles
Fly off the table.
fly around,
Yeah.
and it's great watching them realize, oh, hold on, you've grabbed a bunch of green tiles. You can't just have green tiles. You really need to break that up. I'm going to take this pink tile that I found, and I'm going to put it all the way over here, out of your sight, so you don't see it. My kids are shits. They do things.
It sounds good. Like any game that has the tactility
Yeah.
of that, like for kids especially, they love
Yeah.
playing with Legos and things. So like actually playing that in a board game,
Yeah.
and there's them slowly realizing about the puzzle, about the colors and the pictures and the ads and stuff. So what sort of things do you see on the tiles?
So on the tiles, like the news articles themselves are, so they don't have a huge amount of text on it. But,
Auntie that gets
they,
nose twisted. Can't
but
eat ants.
they have things like that. So
Right.
they just have the headline.
Right.
And I can't remember the headlines off the top of my head, but
But they're
they
nothing
they are a laugh.
Like
They
the
are pretty
headlines
good.
we have nowadays
No.
in real life.
That's good.
No.
Okay,
No.
cool.
And the images are fun. The ads that they have in there look like something out of a 1950s news agency sort of thing. And news newspaper. Sorry, is the word I'm looking for. And yeah, it's just look.
An analog digital newspaper.
Yeah.
Yes. What,
Yeah.
what were there before tablets and things?
Look, cracker of a game. I was lucky enough to get the Kickstarter edition. All it comes with though is an extra little pack of cards similar to Cascadia. The retail would be absolutely perfect. It would be near identical, except for that little tiny pack of extra cards. There is a ton of game in there. I think it's another great one. For anyone saying, well, I've got Galaxy Trucker, do I need this as well? I would say it's different enough, but I could excuse anyone who said that just doesn't sound as deep as Galaxy Trucker.
I think
'Cause it's
Galaxy
not.
Trucker is difficult to teach, like even to adults.
Yeah.
Because there's all those things about this connection doesn't work with that, and I
Yeah.
feel like the first
Yeah.
round or two, you get the same questions all the time when showing new players. This sounds simpler to teach, where you say an ad can't touch to another ad,
Yeah.
and a pink can't touch another pink, and things like that.
Yeah.
Like it just seems a little simpler to get off the table.
Yeah, and you still have that little thing where when someone yells out print, and then everyone at the table gets up, and you have to check each other's board to make
That'd
sure
be
that
pretty cool.
everything's okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it does sound like it could probably use like an editor phase where
Yeah.
similar to Galaxy Trucker where there's like the race and we watch our it's like the editor comes in and just goes, no, this article you fool,
Yeah.
you can't send
Yeah.
that to print.
Yeah, or the one where it's like, no, that tile is not legal, and now that means the entire arse end of your ship just comes off the board.
I love that moment.
I used to work at a news company, And like I used to do IT there, and just working with reporters and things.
Yeah.
Whenever there's like an overnight, like just something big's gonna happen that evening in real life, the amount of pressure and anxiety that comes into that workplace. So it'd be cool if like an event card was flipped and all of a sudden, oh shit, we have to change all our newspapers. Like that would be interesting too.
I was going to say, so Galaxy Trucker has got 3 phases, right? It's got the initial flip, then it's got the build, followed by then the release, I guess you can call it the race, right? The journey, right?
Yeah.
This sounds like it buggers off that third phase completely.
Does,
Do you find that is there enough resolution at the end there to justify it, or
I think it's more a case that the game doesn't have it because that isn't what the game is about.
Okay.
But what I will say, and I glossed over it a little bit. The thing about Galaxy Trucker is that when you're taking tiles, you're putting them on your board, and then you're going, oh no, that doesn't work, and then you're putting it back in the middle. That's not the case in Fit to Print. In Fit to Print, you have to take the tile, look at it, and going, I think I can make this work. You're not allowed to put that on your board. That goes on your desk first.
Yeah, your paperwork stacks up.
That's right. Yeah. And so you're forever going, do I have the right number of tiles? I have played a round of this where my brother-in-law, he had one he had one row of white spaces left, and I think it only had 3 squares in it, and that was it. It was almost perfectly filled. Whereas I've played this, and my son, he had something like 19 squares in a
right.
Unfilled. He goes, yeah, I didn't grab anywhere near enough tiles on that one. So
yeah, that's interesting. You got to count while people are grabbing things.
Yeah, so there is
it's a different style.
Yeah, it's a different style. It's still a great game. It's, again, look, there's a ton of game in that box.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. I'd love to try it. Like, it
art
awesome.
is great. Fit to Print's brilliant.
Perfect. Well, we'll move on from Fit to Print, and we're going to move on to one that I've been playing over the past couple of weeks. We talked about this on a previous podcast, just mentioning it in passing, as it was one of 2022's, or this year's, I should say. I believe it was the Kennerspiel de Jahres, which means the advanced board game of the year, basically, or that's what they give it. This one was, so Challengers is a very interesting take on this kind of capture the flag kind of gameplay. The way that it works, why I want to have a talk about it is I'm still up in the air on whether or not I really like this game, but I don't dislike it. It's just I'm still trying to figure out if I really do like this game.
So what is this game?
Yeah, so right, so what it is, Challenges is a series of one-on-one battles where you and versus so generally the game plays around 6 players, is really good, but you can play 4. And you'll be put into a series of 1 versus 1 battles where you are trying to take control of a flag. Now, each of your cards, so you start off with the same, it's basically a mini sort of deck builder. With sort of not much, it's kind of got some combos and things in it. The way that it works is that I will play a card from the top of my deck. So I don't have a hand. I set up my deck, shuffle it, and then I pull the top card off.
So the 2 players going up against each other,
so
they have the same deck of cards.
In the first round, they have the same deck of cards, and then you're allowed to do your first bit of deck building, which is that I'm allowed to pull 5 cards from the deck, and then I can pick 2 of them. Now, I can pick 1 and redraw 5, and then I can pick a second one if I wish. Congratulations. These are the level A cards. Cards come in 3 different levels, A, B, and C. Right. C being stronger than A. Okay, cool. But you start the first round, so you get a little bit of variation.
Awesome.
Then you are allowed to then cull your deck if you wish. You may remove as many cards out of your deck as you wish. The way that it works is that each card has a value. Those values start off ranging from 1 to 4. And some cards may have some additional powers, such as, hey, if this card gets possession of the flag, their power is now worth +2.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. So I may play a newcomer. He's worth 1 value. I'm the first player. Congratulations. I now have the flag. Damo, you would then, we're in a 1 versus 1 battle. You then flip the top card of your deck, and it comes up being the level 2 card, which happens to be the dog or something like that, right? They'll have random, like, cartoony names. There's no real thing. The dog has a power of 2. Congratulations. You immediately take the card, the flag from me, and my card goes into the exhaust pile. Into the discard row. I win the battle under 2 conditions. Either my discard row completely fills up with 6 different sorts of cards,
Right.
and I try to put a 7th one in there. I can't do that, so therefore you win the battle.
Mhm.
Or I try to draw a card off the top of my deck, and it is empty, and that immediately stops the battle.
Okay.
You only start the game with like 10 cards in your deck.
Okay.
So the battle's not very long. Okay. So then that's it, right? We have this 1 versus 1 battle, and where some interesting thing comes in is that there's different sorts of powers. There are different suits. So you've got like the movie star set, and all the movie star sets can like do stuff together. You've got the mermaid set, and the mermaid set can do. You've got the sci-fi set, and you've got the medieval set, and all these cards can mix and match with each other. And then as the game progresses, you play over a course of 6 different battles. We verse each other. Then the top, what we're trying to do is to get fans. So there's like a little trophy in the middle, and we'll be fighting over that trophy. On the back side of it is the amount of fans that we won by winning that battle.
Yeah.
I don't know how many fans there are there. It could be up to 2 or 3 different values. But I win the trophy, I get the fans, congratulations. At the end of 6 battles, we all tally up the amount of trophies that we have and the fans that they give us. The top 2 go into one final battle to determine who is the best challenger and who wins the series.
So that final battle always happens?
Always happens,
Okay.
but it's only between the top 2.
Yeah, interesting.
Only between the top 2 players.
Yeah.
Now, the game itself is, and that's literally the whole game. Right? I really do think it deserves the award. It's very simple. Has a kind of it's not a hard rule set, but it is more like the game for gamers because it gives you the chance to, cull your deck a little bit to figure out, do I want to have more cards in here and try and outlast my opponent? Or do I want to have less cards in here that are maybe more powerful and mean that I always get the flag and I can do what I want?
Yeah.
There's all these different combos. And then as the rounds go on, different things happen, such as in rounds 2 and 3, I'm given a choice. I can grab two level A cards to put into my deck, or I can pick 1 level B card from the thing. And so you get a choice of stronger ones. So do you want to take more cards or do you want a stronger card? Take your pick.
Depends on the strategy.
Depends on the strategy.
And it's the type of game where you would want to try different strategies with
Yes.
multiple players. I think it's pretty interesting. I've played it once on Board Game Arena. I didn't quite grasp it. Probably need to go back and try it again. But I think any game in person, when you're playing Dominion, you're playing with a lot of cards and you're flipping cards and you're constantly doing just top of your deck. I could see that being.
Well, this one would also have the added benefit of saying, okay, I'm versing Damo. We need to go and sit opposite each other. So everyone's got to get up and move and verse their opponent. So we're missing that whole part of it by playing it on board.
And then it'll feel like a duel that's quick.
Yeah, exactly right. And because you get to have this moment
And then you'll see Blake and I versing each other over there, and you'll be like, what's happening over there?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
You get to have that thing.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of that going on, which we are missing by playing it digitally. However, I will say I have been enjoying it, but I still don't know if it's got enough crunch there for me to really go. I don't get to do a lot of deck building. I only get to pick up to 2 cards at maximum. And I can either take 2 cards from the 4 or 5 in front of me, or I can just immediately redraw and then take my luck with the next 5 that are coming up as well.
It's sounding like a super light version of Super Fantasy Brawl.
It does.
It does.
It does sound
And
like
I think
that,
that's
yeah.
what turned me off it because I love Super Fantasy.
Yeah.
Brawl.
But in saying that, this is a very good, very easy kind of game for new people.
I'd argue Super Fantasy Brawl is simpler.
To be fair, I mean, Nee, I know you haven't played it. It's listeners, it's on the to-do list. Our to-do list is obscene at the moment. Like games to play.
There's so many.
Yeah, there's so many.
Yeah.
But Super Fantasy Brawl, essentially, it's not so much deck building, it's deck construction. But
is this the one that has I have miniatures on the board as well?
Yeah.
So
little pillars and things.
It's head to head. Each player picks 3 characters. Each character has a miniature, and then you smash those 3 decks together, shuffle it up, and that is your deck.
So it's a bit of smash up in a way.
Yeah. And then you score points based on objectives, or based on knocking out your opponent's minis and such. But it has very much that head-to-head element as well.
But I feel like
small
there's more decision
overhead.
space as you as a player. You have more to think about as to what I want to accomplish this round.
Oh yeah,
That sort of
But
thing.
like I said, it's a more advanced. It's a bigger game.
Well,
Yeah,
and that's the other thing as well, right? This one as well doesn't give you choices on what your actions are.
Yeah.
You have to just construct your deck, shuffle it, and then you just pull top card and then just see what happens, right? So it's
Yeah.
like there's not a lot of game.
Agency in that.
There are a few cards where it'd be like, hey, draw the top 2 cards from your deck, put one on the bottom and put one back on the top.
Yeah.
And there are things of like, hey, pick one card from your opponent's pile. They become exhausted and have to join the bench, right?
Yeah, cool.
So there are some decisions when you get to that, but there's not a lot. And that's why I do think it makes a really good entry-level game.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do think why I'm struggling with it at the moment is maybe I'm expecting too much from it when I shouldn't be. I think maybe I'm expecting something that I shouldn't be expecting from this particular game. But for what it is, I've actually really enjoyed my time with it because it's like I've actually been playing quite a few async games where you just come in,
that'd be cool,
set up your deck, come in, you can watch the battle play out and you go, sweet, I won that battle, or no, I didn't win that battle. I came second in this one, so I got to the final match and I came second, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty good playing it asynchronously, but I do think this game specifically would be so much better in person. I know we say this in general, but this game particularly because it has the whole, I'm doing some deck building and then I have to physically pick up my deck and walk in front of my opponent, a la Magic the Gathering or 1 versus 1 card game style, sit down and then we do the battle. And I think that, again, we talk about the tactility of board gaming and why it's such an important thing, but I do think this is such a major proponent that I think I'm missing that part. And I do think if I was playing this in person, I would be like, oh, this is great. Because I could get my mum walking up. And she has to sit across from my youngest, from my 4-year-old, and mum has to sit there whilst Evie's deck just absolutely throttles her, right? And I think that's what we're missing from this particular, I think what I'm missing.
For sure.
And so I'm still interested, and like we say a lot of the time, but I am actually very interested to try this one in person.
Is this one available retail?
It's only just coming. It is now. It's only coming out. They've already announced Challengers 2. So it's just basically 7 or 8 new deck sets that you can add into the whole thing. I do believe they will be cross-compatible. So it's kind of like, it almost feels like, like the living card game, different sets that you can get and you can smash them together. You don't play with all sets. You just have to choose, right, we're going to play with the movie collection, the sci-fi collection. And
so it comes in the base box. Yeah. A few options.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then you choose which set you want to play with. So
sweet.
Maybe some of them, maybe I'm not, and that's the other thing, maybe I'm not playing with the high interactivity sets. Who knows? So
yeah. That sounds really cool though. Like, to play that in person would elevate it.
I really do think it would. And I think we're missing out from there. So look, I'm keen to give it another go, but I think I may stop playing it digitally and just wait till I get a chance to play it in person. I think that's what
I'd definitely love to give it a go because the thing about those head-to-head style games, and I know the game I'm about to say is not a true head-to-head. It's just, I think, I know Ralph and I have played this quite a bit, so Res Arcana.
Yeah.
And slightly different game again, but anytime someone says to me, I've got a head-to-head deck builder, unfortunately, that's the game it has to go against in my mind, because as far as I'm concerned, that is still,
I think,
up there as the premium deck builder head-to-head game.
I think they're very different vibes. It's like
completely different.
Okay,
I wouldn't even really call this deck building as much. Like, I know I said that, but it's like,
no, look,
you are
fair.
kind of doing
That's
it,
fair.
but yeah.
That's fair. Look, I'd love to give it a go. I really, really would, yeah.
Easy.
Out of curiosity, you kind of said like Res Arcana is like, you're implying that it was like the pinnacle of deck building.
Like for me, because
what it offers versus
what it offers. So, and we're diverging a little bit.
That's okay. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. So my favorite deck builder out there is still Race for the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Okay. But Race for the Galaxy has...
I will beat you at this one day. I will beat you.
But it's the same designer.
It's the same designer, but Race for the Galaxy, because of the iconography and just the extra rules, it has a higher learning curve.
Definitely.
Okay? Res Arcana nails it for me because it has that slightly lower learning curve. But it's still very much the same thing. It's a race to points, and it's just it's all about being more efficient than your opponent. It's not a battle per se, as in you're not taking away life points or anything, but it is a battle to a certain number. The reason why I say it's the pinnacle is because it does all those things. It's the right price. It's the right rules overhead. It has really good expansions for it. So the moment you feel like you've just done it, you just buy one of the expansions, particularly the first expansion.
Change the game.
Changes up the game.
Yeah.
And there's just so much depth in that box.
I just want to say the amount of times my wife and I have gotten confused by playing with the first expansion, because now there's demons and now there's creatures, and you're like, I wanted to untap a creature, but that's a demon.
And the scrolls are really cool as well. Look, again, but I'm certainly not suggesting they're the same game. I'm just saying that limited shelf space, limited time, that's the game it has to go up against.
Yeah, look,
In my mind.
I can tell you right now, it won't beat it for you personally, but
Yeah.
challenges may have a place for a different sort of vibe.
Okay.
Like
I'd say so,
challenges is
yeah.
not a
Cool.
1 versus 1 game. It is literally a party game where a series of different 1 versus 1 battles.
It's like you're
occur.
holding a mini tournament in a way.
Oh,
It goes
okay.
Yeah.
so quickly.
So
It's a
it'll-
lot
yeah.
quicker than Super Fantasy Brawl.
Honest-
Like it's so much quicker than that. I just wanted
Nice.
to hear your insight as to
Yeah.
why you're ranking Res
Ah,
Arcana so
See,
highly.
and that's
is-
probably me just
yeah.
misunderstanding.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Look, this game you should not play it with less than 6, right?
Oh,
because
wow.
you want to
Okay.
have
This is-
3
this is
battles
like
going on
the,
at any one time,
yeah.
right? And because the
Right,
battles
okay.
happen synchronously.
Yeah.
Ah.
So,
It's like
like,
walking
whilst-
into a casino and playing Casino War.
Yeah,
You know,
pretty
one
much.
card. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, so I've got a battle with you going on. There's another battle, and there's 3 battles going on. Then we figure out who the winner is, and then you have to change
because
who you're versing.
because when you started explaining it, you the game you were explaining to me was War.
It's kind of
just
like,
and it's
war.
like, but then you said, okay, but there's all these extra powers. I was thinking,
Yeah.
yeah, there has to be more to this game because otherwise
There is.
Otherwise, they're just selling War.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's pretty much that's what it is. It's war with more powers.
It's
Yeah.
cool, but I like it.
Yeah, look, I'm enjoying it.
Like, yeah,
I do think,
1000%
like I
in
said,
person,
I'm really enjoying it. I
1000%.
just think it's now time to play it in person because I
Yeah,
think I'm just missing
okay.
that last step. All right, we're going to move on to our second last game of the evening, which is the game of Nidavellir. Now, this is a auction game. Now, if you've listened to our podcast before, you'll know we love auction games here. Ra for sale. The estates. There's a whole
modern art.
modern art,
High
right?
society.
High society that we've
Yeah.
talked about a lot of them, and we
And
love
also,
our auction
Damien
games.
wins games at auction all the time.
He does.
all
He
the time.
Absolutely. He loves scaring those secondhand auctions. Absolutely. So we this is one that crossed my board game shelf, as it were. I actually kept passing on this game a lot because we have a member in the Discord community called Tristan Carnival. He in Discord. He loves this game.
It's like Batman, Bruce Wayne,
No,
as
no,
you know him,
no.
right?
Yeah, that's his tag, you know, if you see him in there. But he loves this game, and he was trying to get a game of this going in the Discord for so long.
Oh, okay.
And every time I saw the artwork for this game, it looks like it's a black and white kind of like dungeon-esque, like, you know, like mountain, because the theme is, right, so this is an auction game where, and let me give you a quick overview, where we are auctioning trying to buy mercenaries, dwarven mercenaries, to make an army. And the person who has the most impressive army at the end of 2 ages of, you know, of auctioning, they, with the most bravery points, the king goes, your army is the most impressive, you're the army that I'm going to take to battle, and yeah, we go and get honor and gold and glory and all this fun stuff that happens there, right?
Yeah.
Now, when I was looking at the artwork, when he was trying to show it, like, I'm looking at this going, I had no idea what this game was. I had no idea it was an auction game. I didn't know how simple it was. And I kept looking at it going, I don't know. And then he finally said, look, it's an auction game, come play. And I went, all right, fine, whatever, we'll play a game. And I played it once. And I went, oh, that's really good. It's really simple, really easy to learn, and it's, I think, really good. Whether or not it's better than other auction games, we'll have a chat about that. But it does fit this really interesting niche of the game. How it works is that everyone has 5 betting chips, and they are, you know, 0, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on your turn, there are 3 different taverns, and dwarves come out, basically, and we need to bid on who gets first pick in these said taverns.
Yep.
This game plays 3 to 5 players. And so you have potentially have 5 dwarfs in every tavern, depending on, you have as many dwarfs as players in the game. So I pick 3 of my 5 tokens, and then we resolve them, and there's a little, you know, a gemstone. We each have a gemstone which breaks ties, and a few things happen, such as, okay, well, I get first pick. If I tied with someone, the gemstones, you know, figure out the tiebreaker, but then we have to swap gemstones. So that means next time if we tie, you get the tiebreaker, not me, which is a pretty simple and very easy rule. And then the other 2 dice go into you. Sorry, not the other 2 dice. The other 2 coins go into your coin pouch. And the coins there they just don't get used. However, there is one special rule, which is I did mention you have a 0 coin. The 0 coin does allow you to take the sum of those 2 dice and then upgrade them. If you go to our YouTube channel, you'll actually see this little market that we have here in front of us. It allows you to go to the market and buy an upgraded coin. So if I had a 3 and a 4, the sum is 7. So therefore I can trade my 4 for the 7 because it's the larger coin. So that's how the auctions go. We literally do 4 in a 3-player game. We do 4 auctions an age, so 8 auction rounds in total. And then we have got 5 different sorts of not orcs, dwarfs that we are trying to get. blacksmiths, miners. I can't remember the names of them. There's like this. It's basically green, purple,
Yeah.
blue, orange,
Yeah.
and red, right? Warriors, rangers, blacksmiths, etc., etc. Each of them score differently, such as the warriors are red. They just give you bravery based on the numbers on the dwarves. You total up them at the end of the game. Congratulations, that's their bravery. The green and purple ones have different ranks, so they each of them have a little symbol. Just means what rank you're at, and the more ranks of it you get, the more they're worth. Green starts off really low, but then gets really high, so there's less of them in the deck. And then purple, starts off better for lower ones, but then the more of them they get, maybe it's not as worth as trying to go for greens. The blue ones score you big points, but there's limited ones in the deck, so you're trying to get them where you can. And the orange one is the most confusing, but
they're like a little multiplier on themselves.
Basically just however many ranks of orange dwarves you have times by the value of their bravery.
Yeah, I think what I found, just like the more of a single color you kind of go for, the more points you're going to get. Like you want to try and like do that across the board, I guess.
And by a lot of points, we do mean a lot of points. The final score in our game ended up being me with 315, Ralph with like 270, and Damo with 260 or something like that, right? It was like...
So what's the theme of it? Like you had the best army.
So I have the bravest army.
The bravest army.
Like that's your bravery value, right? So that's what the king determines, that your bravery is... you're now the best army because you're the most brave, and he's going to take your army to slay the dragon and get the gold and all that kind of stuff. At the end of the first,
what did the king do with our armies? He just
said bugger
I
off.
don't know.
Go back to the pub. Go back to the pub and drink.
It's not too bad.
Doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah,
At the end of the first age as well, there are 5 distinction cards. These distinction cards basically give you a bonus. So if you had the most amount of ranks in the red card, you get an extra bonus for that. So congratulations, keep it going. And they each have these own...
Good job.
good job, mate. Keep it up. Yeah, get some more bravery or whatnot. And they all give some really interesting decisions, such as... Damo won the distinction card that upgraded his 0 card, his 0 coin, into a 3 coin, which meant he could then trade his 2 coins in the coin pouch on a value of 3, which is really good. So I'm skipping over a lot of things here for the sake of just discussion and talking about the game, because the game itself is really simple. It's literally, at the end of the game, you get points for having the most amount of bravery in one of them, and just trying to get a lot of points and trying to get a lot of ranks. The last thing we haven't explained is that if you get a set, which is one of each of the colors, so there are 5 colors, and you get one of each of the colors, you get to go and recruit hero cards. These hero cards give you big bonuses and big points. So things such as, just big points to add to your bravery score at the end, or multipliers for specific colors, etc. So you're trying to balance out, do I go hard into one color and get a crap ton of points there, or do I try and go wide and try and get sets to get heroes? And that's the game. It literally played in about 45 minutes. We taught the game in 10 minutes, played in less than an hour. And I really, really enjoyed it. I don't know if I still don't think I enjoy the art style, but I forgive it because I quite enjoy the game. But I would like to hear what you guys thought about playing Nidavellir. Oh, Ralph, you've been nominated by...
I've been nominated. All right, just to touch on the art, I agree with you. I'm not entirely sold on the art, because essentially what you're bidding on are cards, and say you're going for the orange cards. The only thing that's depicting as an orange card is a little orange thing in the top left corner. There's nothing else. Like all the cards are just
the
black.
Orange are the miners, and it's just the orange. I will say it does make it stand out. So there is never any question what card that was. It is very standard. But I will say,
but you got a whole card. Why is only 2% of it or 5% of it the color that you're looking at?
I don't know. Maybe it's got to do with, I think, the darkness of dwarves in the mountain. So they are
But what's stopping them from doing a whole banner?
You're
not.
You know
what I mean? I'm gonna say you need your glasses.
You're not wrong. Look, I will say you're not wrong.
Yeah.
And I do agree that when I think back to our game, I go, how often did I actually look at the artwork of the different dwarves?
No,
on the
you
cards?
don't.
You don't.
And I never did. I actually was only ever looking for the
numbers. It looks
numbers.
pretty. It just needs a bit more color for my liking. Sure, they are black workers because they're covered in soot and stuff, but make the background pretty or something. I don't know. I'm sure I'm not an artist, but I'm sure someone like Ian O'Toole could have done a better job. Just saying.
That's okay.
I hope he didn't do the art on this one.
Look, that's fair enough. Look, we're being a little critical of the art there,
1000%,
but the actual mechanics of the game.
The
are
mechanics
really
of the game were simple. I really liked the auction mechanic. The upgrading your chips was fun. The chips come on this little bleachers thing, where they all sort of sitting as if rows in a high school, and that was just a bit fiddly. But it
looks
does
nice,
look
but
pretty.
it does get very fiddly because you're looking for specific numbers and.
Yeah, it does look very pretty. But look, I enjoyed the experience. I only played one game of it, but I quite liked it. It was good fun.
Damo, you love auction games.
I love auction games.
Arguably the most in the whole group. So give us your take on Nidavellir.
I liked it. Again, art style put aside, but then I can't remember a single time where I grabbed the card because I liked the way it looked. I literally
I did not do that all.
Yeah, like big number.
It was like
more.
It was like I need a color. That color's got a higher number. I'm going for that one.
That was it.
I did like the coin sort of mechanic where you could potentially, especially early on, we would have the same number and then okay, so you actually win that one because you have the tiebreaker and such. I did like that.
Yep.
The thing I didn't like was I only found maybe 3 auction rounds. We were really competing for cards. Most of the time, we're all just doing our own thing, and I could have put any number there.
Yep.
And I probably was always going to get the card I wanted anyway.
I agree with that.
Because I felt like
there was only maybe one tavern you wanted something, the rest you're like, whatever, I'll make the best of it.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
It didn't have that little bit of edginess that I like in auction games where you feel like every decision you make could hurt you. And it's and look, the easy one's Ra. We've spoken about Ra a bunch.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to compare it to that because I think Ra is just a classic game and it will be around forever. But even in some simpler auction games such as High Society
for sale as
well, where sometimes you sit there going, how much do I really want this? Is it really worth me bidding one more or me bidding this next card up?
It does almost bring into to the forefront. Would you rather an auction mechanic? Would this be a better auction if I knew I could only throw one coin on and then I have to figure it out? That's what Ra and For Sale have. They have this auction mechanic of I know what coins you have there, Damo.
Yeah.
You need to figure out whether or not you want to put that one on there, and that's what they have. Whereas this one is just throw the biggest one, and if you want to win it, basically, if you want to win it, throw your biggest one on there.
Yeah,
literally.
I would say a good auction game is if I care about what I'm auctioning for. In modern art, you're auctioning the paintings. It starts out where you don't know why you want it.
Yeah,
but that ties into the theme of modern art in a way.
Yeah, but the thing about modern art is that there's always a crescendo.
Yes.
Once you have 3 paintings of the same color, all of a sudden, for instance, if there are 3 reds on the board and you've played it sly and you're sitting with 2 reds in your hand, you're going, well, I'm about to make bank on this.
That's
now.
right. And I don't want to be too critical of this game here, but it did get to that point where you're right, you guys, as you were saying, you only really cared about that one tavern that you're auctioning against, and the rest, whatever I get, I'll make do.
I do wonder if this game would be better on repeat plays. Once you guys understood, I won the game basically because I had all of the orange cards.
Right.
So I'm wondering whether or not on repeat plays, if you go, that's actually very strong. If I let him get a lot of that, maybe I have to go for that to stop him from getting the multiplier. If it creates more, I don't know if it would.
I think we're all doing our own thing anyway. We let Damien have all the greens, you let me have all the purples as well.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, because I let you have all the purples going for the orange, but I'm wondering if, I don't know, if there was any other of those hero cards it could have been. Look, I will say there are a few heroes that we didn't play with that are supposed to add in a few extra little spice and things like that.
Yeah, but that's the thing as well. I feel like even a card reference to have next to you, like Ra displays that beautifully as to what everything means. This doesn't really do that for me.
I will say, look, and again, I've only played this once, so it's absolutely
that's the hard thing.
First impression. I'm being hypercritical of a game that I've played once, and I totally acknowledge that. But what I will say is that I wonder how this plays at 5.
Yeah,
because
I was about to say the same thing.
Is it 5 players?
It can play up to 5 players.
I wonder
And it's only 3 rounds per age instead of 4, so you
Yeah.
have a
Yeah,
lot less
cool.
cards. And
So-
awesome.
So for
That'll
instance,
be good. Much tighter.
a number of auction games with where they fall over at higher player counts is that the person who comes last just gets boned every time. They either completely miss out, or the auction just becomes so expensive that it's not worth their while. Okay, and the thing about this game though is that I wonder if at 5, especially in the second age, do we get to a point where it's like, okay, well, I can see Nee's going for this, Ralph's going for that, and let's say we had Matt and Blake here as well. So Matt's going for that. Looks like I'm actually really competing with Matt. I don't care so much about Nee and Ralph, but I absolutely have to outbid Matt. And I think that starts to happen more at higher player counts.
I think this one would. I totally agree with you. And I start to thinking about that, though. It starts to ask the question of where does this game actually fit? Like, for sale is quick, easy, less than 20 minutes. Then you got Ra, which is a bit more crunchy, plays in an hour. Then you got like Modern Art, which plays about an hour and 45.
Well, this isn't the same price point as Modern Art, I believe, isn't it? Like $50 or so?
Yeah, sorry, $50. Yeah.
So I think with this game, there's one also thing I didn't understand, right? So I didn't look at all the cards before we started playing. First game, you sort of want to learn as you go.
Yeah.
For some things, but we went through all the Act 1 cards. Then the Act 2 cards came out. I didn't feel like they increased it.
They weren't.
I
they're
thought
basically the same. They're basically the same set.
It's just there to like balance the amount of colors in them. I imagine.
There are things like there's only like one level 14 worth of red, right? So the 14 red is like I didn't really look at it at the time, but the red cards go from like 10 down to 3. So if you see the 10 red come out, that's the strongest red card. So if I want the most red bravery.
And that's where you say repeat plays, you will notice
that's why I do think this game on repeat plays probably gives you a little bit more than what we weren't.
There's definitely first game. There's definitely more game in here than we actually can see at the moment.
Yeah, and look, this game, it does provide a very interesting thing. I mean, it's very cheap. I got it for $50.
Yeah,
it's about the same as Modern Art. It's a lot cheaper than Ra at the moment. So trying to get Ra Second Edition is nearly impossible. So it provides a little bit more crunch than the very simple auction games, but it's not as cutthroat, and I think that can be good for some people, which is games like Ra and the Estates, which is like you make one wrong bid and you are just boned, right? You've done goofed, you now need to deal with it, whereas this game is like,
but it is funny when someone is.
Absolutely.
But I get it. You don't want this
game is much more
this.
point salad, because it's like, hey, do some stuff, get some big points, but there is something to be said about having smaller points when it's like decisions really do matter.
I do want to say something that I did like about this game is I couldn't tell who was winning. The entire game, I couldn't tell who was winning until we counted the points.
We didn't know, and that's one of the advantages of having such a high sort of like scoring game.
Yeah,
you just don't know in the end. Yeah,
that's good.
I put it akin to something like Escape Plan, which is a big Lacerda game. It's definitely not an entry level game.
No, but it's like dealing in 90s and 80s.
Yeah, but it's like you look around at everyone's board and you go, I think you've got this, and everyone's going, no, I think you've got this. Truth is, no one knows because the score is in the hundreds.
That's really good when you play games that are like that, because everyone enjoys it right till the end.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
Love that. Anyway, so that was Nidavellir. Jury's still out, but we enjoyed the play, but we do have some little nitpicks. We don't try and be too negative here because we actually do enjoy the game.
Look, I'm going to play more of this game.
I absolutely do want to play it again, but I really want to play it at 5.
I think this one would be really shine at higher play games. Anyway, but let's go from a game that is black and white to another game that has a lot of black and white. We're going to be talking about our gateway game of the week, which is this week called Spots, the push your luck dice rolling game about Dalmatians and spotty dogs. Damien, take us through this one because
I do want to say one thing about this one. It is another game that is black and white. However, there is more color.
Yes, it is. No, it does have a lot of black and white. No, but the main theme of this is if you look on the bot, you'll see a lot of black and white spotty dogs. But let's take you through our gateway game of the week this week, which is Spots.
Okay, so look, I'm not going to do the explanation. I am going to read the explanation directly out of the rule book.
Because
I'm excited for this.
I will say
bedtime
this
story.
is one of the best explanations of a game ever.
All right, take it away.
Do I need to put like the fireplace music behind you? Or something? Oh,
no.
Okay. Please take
quite
us
short and sweet. Dogs have spots. Dice have spots.
Oh, they do.
Place your dice on the right spots. Complete your dogs to score them. That is the entire game of spots. You are literally rolling dice. You are then taking the dice that you have rolled and you are placing them on dog cards that you have in front of you. The dogs themselves will have pictures that represent different dice values. Once you have filled up all the various spots where dice are on your dogs, you get to score them. First to score 6 dogs wins. That's it. That is the entire game. It seems naff.
It's pretty naff.
But it's great.
Yeah, it's good naff.
It's a good game.
It's good naff.
So the wrinkles in the game are we have 6 different types of actions that we can take, and they are here in the board. And here on the table in front of us, I should
To give
say.
you an example, one of them is like, hey, you roll 2 dice, then you may roll another one.
Yes.
Or, hey, roll 8 dice, and then choose one of the numbers that are on there and keep all of that number and discard the rest.
Yep.
Right? They're just different actions you can take.
And what'll happen is that you will take one of these cards and you will say, I'm going to perform this action. So let's say we take run, and run says roll 3 dice. So you roll 3 dice. If you can match those 3 dice that you have rolled to any of your dogs, so you'll typically have at least 2 dogs in front of you. Great. You put all 3 dice on, and then you perform the then action, which is optional.
Mm-hmm.
Normally optional. And this one says you may roll 1 die and repeat this second step as many times as you like.
Yep.
Okay. So what will you then do? You will take 1 die and roll it. And if you can place it, great. You can go again. And you keep doing this. Here's the kicker. If you can't place a die on any of your dogs, it gets buried in the yard. And we all have a little card in front of us here.
A little kennel.
The yard. And you put the die there. Here's the key. And the real thing is that if you ever have more than 7 pips in your yard, so the pips on the die, if they add up to more than 7, you completely bust. Any dice that you have on your dogs, any dice that you currently have in the yard, they are gone.
Gone skis.
So it is possible to actually have your dogs filled up, but not scored yet. And that's the thing, is that on your turn, you can either take actions to roll dice and try and put dice on the dogs, or you can then say, you know what, I'm going to forego my turn so I can score the dogs that I have. And then that way, if I do happen to bust on a future turn, I'm not going to lose the dice on that dog. Now, there are special rules where if you manage to complete 2 dogs, you automatically score them. But in general, that's what you're aiming for.
Yeah.
I managed to bust having almost 3 dogs filled. That hurts.
That hurt very much.
That hurt a lot. And then the last thing you have is you have these little treat tokens.
The bones.
The bones. And at any point you can spend one. You can spend one to re-roll the dice that you just rolled on that turn.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, you rinse and repeat to do this. I've just explained the whole game. You do that until someone manages to complete 6 dogs. They're the winner. Happy days. Move on. Start again.
15 minutes and you are done. It's a lot of fun. This is just literally just a very cute, very simple, very easy push like dice rolling game.
Yeah.
Roll dice and then laugh at people who bust on their dice.
The funniest thing for me was like all the cards have like a command, like walk, roll over, run, fetch.
Big.
Yeah.
And when you say like what you're going to do that turn, because you've got to flip the tile in the middle of the table, and it's like, oh, I think I'm going to howl.
Yeah.
It's just always funny.
And look, we've got 6 cards on the table in front of us. You only ever play with 6 cards. There are a stack in the box. There is a ton of replay value in this game.
I was just reading this. It does have like recommended
It
sets.
does, yeah.
But it's always like you have to, 2 of these are mandatory, and then you pick which ones you want to swap out with one of those as well.
I will say those actions in the center of the board are what made the game for me, specifically because it's not like Yahtzee where you say, I always roll 3 dice.
Yeah.
You actually get a choice of like, well, okay, if I go first here, I can do whatever I want. So I naturally gravitated towards the fetch command, which was roll 8 dice and then choose one of the numbers. So I had a turn where I was specifically looking for 2 or more 2s because I had a lot of 2s on my dogs that I was trying to fill. And literally, I had to spend 3 bones before I finally got a roll that had 2 or more 2s in it. And Damien's just sitting there laughing his ass off at me, going, you got no 2s and you're rolling 8. You're an idiot, right? It's like, it's not. But that was the game. And that's what I really enjoyed about it, is the fact that it's not Yahtzee where it's like roll 5 dice and then just keep pushing your luck. It's like those different commands and those different actions give you that little spice where it's like, Oh crap! I've got 3 low, like one of the ones roll over, which is says take all of the dice from your buried in your yard, and you can re-roll them again.
Yeah.
So I had 3 dice in my yard. And I'm like, oh sweet, I can take that action, and I can
get them
roll
out of
it,
there. Yeah.
and get them out of there, and so it gave me these options which I don't normally get in a push your luck game, and it just kind of was really nice. I really enjoyed that choice. That one choice alone changed this kind of push your luck element for me, where I'm like, this is really cool. I really enjoy it. I really dig it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played a lot of Roll for It, which is essentially artsy, where you roll the dice and you allocate the dice where they go. You only have so many dice to allocate. It's a very simple game. I would still use that as a gateway game for little kids, and then introduce them to spots.
Yeah.
Because there is more decision space that you have to do by choosing the actions. But I've got to tell you, Damien, I really love this game. It's not often I play a game with you and go, you know what? I got to get this game. I've had the biggest smile on my face the entire time I played. I lost. I think I got 1 point, and Nee ended up with 6 or so, and Damien with 5. So like I got smashed. But like the art is incredible. All the little dogs have little names on them.
Yeah,
like
I forgot that point.
This dog here, Rupert, he looks like the most like stuck up dog in the world. He's got 2 cats in the window. He's not even looking at the cats. Like the attitude on Rupert is off the charts. Like the art is incredible. And I was just actually having a flick through the rulebook. There is a solo variant. You play against an AI opponent called Dog. So, and what he does, he steals the actions away from you. So he'll take an action. You go, you dog. And I do want to say there's one more variant. And I love it. It's called the off-leash variant, where you put all the action tiles in the center and you just go nuts.
I will say,
Wow.
I will say, it did allow me to have the. That does sound a lot of fun.
It's just
Sounds
chaos.
chaos.
But back on the names of the dogs, though, I did have that one moment where I spied across the table. I saw the top card of the dog deck, and I said, can you pass me Louise, please?
Yeah.
Because that was the name of the dog. And everyone just giggled. It's like, Louise, right? I'm like, but that's what I thought was really funny.
This dog's called Handsome.
Yeah.
This
You had one
sick.
dog called Goliath. He was a big chonker.
Yeah,
I had a dog
I
called
Goliath.
Zerk. I have a dog called
This guy's
Zerk.
called, was it Goatsa, like dumpling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gyoza?
I had one called
Gyoza?
Xerxes. So there's a lot of these real fun names. But look, we love gateway games. That hence, obviously the name of our podcast. But like this is just a really fun, nice time.
Hang on.
Just
His name's Bongo,
Yeah,
and
Bongo.
he has his butt in the air ready for pats.
classic Bongo. I will say though, this is a game that if you like, I don't have it. But if you have get a dice tray or we should have used the lid. I don't know why they don't use it as the dog bowl or something like that.
I will
the
say,
dog bowl. You roll into the dog bowl.
Perfect.
Oh, I love this
That
game.
would've been
I'm
amazing.
patent pending. I'll take my check in the mail if you guys have.
yeah, look, I was traveling with my wife up in Brisbane last weekend. I walked into a shop, which, to be fair, I knew of this shop. And it's like, I tend to...
Let's just walk down this street, honey.
Yeah, that's pretty much... Actually, no, it was more a case of, I'm going to go for a walk. And then she said, you go into the shop. I said, hell yeah, I'm going to the shop. And I went there. They had this on the shelf. Saw it straight away. Grabbed it. Loved... Like, it was just the art. It was the box. What got me. I heard a little bit about the game. I didn't know a great deal about it, though. But it's got dogs on the cover.
Yeah,
It's got dice. It's got awesome art.
it's everything you need.
And like the
like-
components are solid. Like this is a good piece of.
it's a really small box.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
really small box. Got everything you need in it. You get a ton of dice. It's just good fun. Look, it's one of those games where I know we talk about a lot, and I don't think at any point we've ever I truly identified what is a gateway game because it is different to everyone. But for me, this is one of those where it's a game I can pull it off the shelf. I can get. I think this plays
Anyone can play it.
But the truth is, you could actually play this with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
You say line them up, especially if you are going to get all of the cards out.
Oh,
and
that's nuts.
go to-
I wouldn't do that
go to town.
as a gateway introduction.
But
as
still,
well,
you're just basically saying, all right, everyone, kids, mums, dads, whoever,
Yeah.
aunts, uncles,
Roll some dice.
roll some dice.
And I'll tell you what,
dice on dogs. That's it.
again on the theme, like to do a reroll, you actually have to like cash in a dog treat.
Yeah.
And I think that's so cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it was really good. We recommend it. It gets a big thumbs up from us, so we love that. But look, this one's going on a bit long, so we're going to get into our discussion topic. But because we want to talk about dice, But more importantly, speaking of dice, we want to talk about the accessories. I mentioned a game tray, a dice tray,
Yeah.
you know. And look, we wanted to have a chat tonight about board game accessories. So we love board games, and we love loving board games. But sometimes a board game, you just wish it had something a bit more, don't you? And then this is where board game accessories come in. It's a whole subgenre of our nerdy ass culture,
Yes.
where people literally will buy things to make things either better, more organized, or just prettier in general.
If you guys can just give us a few minutes, we're just going to pour some glasses of scotch while we talk about board game accessories, because you can spend as much as you want on board game accessories.
Don't even get me started on it. Oh my God. All right, I'm going to go first, okay? So we're going to tell you about some of the accessories and maybe some stories. I'll start with a story, which is that,
Sure.
yeah, look, as everyone, if you've listened to this podcast before, one of my favorite board games of all time is Twilight Imperium. And last year with my tax money, I decided that I really wanted to get the insert for Twilight Imperium. So I got the insert, which cost about $80 just for a whole bunch of the folded space insert. And then I went, that's really cool and all. I really would love to get a custom game mat. So I did. And I found a guy on Etsy who lives in Spain, and he makes a custom game mat for the whole 8-player variant of Twilight. So I bought that. That was over $120. And then I went, well, you know, they've got the 3 codexes that they've released for this game. Well, someone's obviously got to be making versions of those cards, right? Yes. And so I bought those as well. So like I don't do this for every game, right? But for some games, I do feel like the added like
I do
things can add to the game.
I do want to
experience.
say, like, because my other friends who's got Twilight Imperium, I unboxed his copy and set it up at my house through the years. When I unboxed your copy and set it up at my place to play that game, my goodness, the production detail, that accessory, that was so nice.
I will say, so there is a story there where Ralph and I had only just started gaming together. It was actually the first time that I met this wider group. We had a game of TI. We hit the 11-hour mark. And then finally, we've just gone, look, YouTube, it literally came down to just rolls of the dice. We actually geared it and we said, look, you guys roll. That's it. Rolled, had a winner. We took photos. It was great. I was shattered by that point. And there were so many of us. Ralph was saying, it's fine. Look, I'll pack it up in the morning. We were going, no, we're all going to help you. I have done these ones where I've just said, look, I'll put it away for you. And I held the box in front and I started to just swipe all the pieces. The look on Ralph's face. Just the look of just
because, like, to be honest, to pack up a game like that, you know, I put some music on. Like, it's a nice hour of my time. I enjoy that. It's therapeutic.
It's also not the pack. It's the unpack the next time you play the game.
You know you're going to play it again at some point in your lifetime. But I do want to say on Playmat, one of my close friends, he loves Dune Imperium as well.
Yeah. That's awesome.
He loves Eclipse as well. Did he end up buying the Eclipse
one?
one?
The Eclipse mat is next
So
level.
he bought the Eclipse mat and a Dune Imperium mat that has the expansion inbuilt into the mat, I believe. It's something else. Like, to play a game directly on a mat is just a nice luxury.
And like for listeners who don't realize the value of it. So, for instance, I rave on about the game mat. So basically, I've got a game mat by a company.
The neoprene mats, first of all.
Neoprene game mat, and
they're about 2-3 mil.
Yes, the one I've got is a 3 mil thick mat, and it's stitched all the way around, which means it doesn't fray. Now, I don't have. The one I'm talking about isn't game specific, but the reason why it's important is because when you try and pick up a card off
my table is the worst for it. I know
you can't get your fingers underneath it normally. You have to slide the whole card off,
or you bend the card.
Yeah. A game mat, because it has that little bit of
flex,
it means that you can actually push on the card and the top of the card flicks up. That is massive, and
it's so good.
And also, it's kind of like if you ever played on a poker table. I know that's felt, it's a bit different, but the cards still sort of slide and stop.
A bit of slide.
And also rolling dice. This doesn't happen.
The dice actually bounce a bit.
Yeah, and it's soft. You don't get this weird, like, you get this shake when you shake it, but you don't get.
I do love that sound. Part of me does love that sound. But I will say, I agree with you. Like, the mats are really they're expensive. They can be, because they generally screen printed on people and they stitch them.
But that's the thing. Like, I decided I didn't want a dedicated mat. I just got like a nice blue Galaxy. Most of my games are sort of space games anyway. Like, doesn't really matter. Like
Yeah.
I play Gloomhaven on a space themed mat. Doesn't really
Yeah.
matter.
Well, I haven't set it up either, but in previous podcasts, you will have seen the black mat over my table as
Yeah.
well, and that was not, and that's like not a felt neoprene thing, and I literally made that from Spotlight. Got a piece of fabric, rolled it out, and then I sewed in some clips.
But
and
it does elevate the experience.
It does help, right?
Yeah.
So it does help. I mean, other things that do help as well. I mean, like coming back to inserts, right? I know we've talked about. So I'm big into 3D printing.
Yep.
So I have 3D printed like inserts for some of the smaller game boxes. You can like make modular game boxes. There's a huge community out there who are people who are literally coming up with storage solutions for game pieces and game boxes. That's a huge one, really. But if you don't have a 3D printer, I've also gone to a craft shop before, and for my copy of Flamme Rouge, I got the Peloton expansion. And I then just got some PVA glue and some foam core, and I literally made an insert just by having a Stanley knife, measure and a ruler, and just measured out, cut it with a Stanley knife, and then just glued it with PVA, and that was my fold. And that was my insert.
If you're getting a bit artsy, like I made up my own copy of Blood on the Clock Tower by repurposing other components from a legacy game that I beat in the past.
Love that.
So like you can go creative with Spotlight. In regards to 3D printers, that is an accessory you can go down. I just want to point out there are a lot of local libraries that have access to 3D printing that you can actually take STL files down and have done for you, which is not a lot of people know about.
Yeah, and also in terms of storage, there are particularly some of the larger games. If you're having issues with bits and pieces, like for instance, I've got Zaya. The insert that I have for Zaya is from the first edition of the game. It doesn't work all that well. Once you have the expansion. Came up Plano boxes, cost me $7.
Yeah,
it was
true.
amazing.
So those came up boxes, but also during gameplay, little bowls. Like Nees just grabbed a little bowl. These are some 3D printed ones.
Yeah, so I 3D printed these ones. They also have the ability to have little magnets in there, so they can clip onto each other. I didn't have the magnet, so they're there. But I also went one step further, which is that I actually got a piece of cork, like a cork sheet. And my school the place where I work has access to a laser cutter. So I was very fortunate that I was able to do it. But I designed and cut into the cork using the laser cutter, a design that I made a few years back. So this doubles as a coaster on one side and a game bowl on the other.
So you can't have a drink and play a game at the same time.
You know how I rectified that? I printed 10 more of these.
Genius play.
However, there are, if people want to have a look on Pinterest, you can actually search it up on Google as well. There are some people who they've actually turned cereal boxes, and they actually have a template that you can
I have
print,
seen that.
you can cut and fold your own little token bowls.
Yes,
and
really?
Just out of cardboard. And
I haven't seen that.
And it holds and it folds flat as well.
There are a whole bunch of things on Board Game Geek as well. People coming up with
there
crafts.
There are some brilliant things, and it's free. It's just stuff you'd normally put in the recycle bin.
I don't have cereal and I don't have a 3D printer, so I just got Kmart bowls, like just little things.
Honestly.
I think the ones I use are actually designed for toddlers to like eat things from.
They're actually real
like small solid, but they do great for
IKEA bowls.
I was going to say
IKEA bowls,
the 10-pack of coloured bowls that you get for kids from IKEA. Perfect. They're amazing.
That's
they
cost
like $5 or something.
Yeah, and look, we haven't even gone into things like card sleeves. So like if you can't get a neoprene mat, card sleeves really help as well because they give you that little bit of extra.
I do want to say they can get expensive.
They can get very expensive.
So like I sleeved all of Ark Nova, and to be honest, it was like half the price of the game. By the time I ended up with all the sleeves that I went for, I found nowadays I only sleeve games I think I want to keep forever.
Then that's fair enough.
But there's some games that are ridiculous to even think about sleeving. I feel.
I tend to agree. Like I used to sleeve almost everything. Now I only sleeve the games that I really worry about being able to replace, like my Blood Rage, my
your Quacks of Quedlinburg.
No, like I know that's only like 10 sleeves anyway. No. That's the other thing.
No, that's the other thing. So
that's what I meant. I know they're not
my copy of Quacks. So Quacks of Quedlinburg has got all the tokens in it.
Yep.
And the tokens you pull them out of the bag. The problem that we were having, we played Quacks a lot during lockdown.
Yeah.
And basically,
you're shaking the bag.
But what happens is that as your fingers rub against these cardboard tokens, they actually start to wear away at the ink.
Yeah.
So I bought coin capsules.
Yeah.
It took a long time for them to come in because I went the cheapest, nastiest coin capsules capsules you could get at the time. It took
Just little
months.
plastic caps you go.
They're literally like capsules.
They're coin cases. They're mainly used for like collector coins.
But I found out that these particular sizes, whatever size it was perfect for the Quacks tokens.
My Arkham Horror uses a bit bigger than Quacks, and I use the coin cases. But basically, any game where you're going to be dealing with a lot of tokens frequently, I would use coin cases.
I will admit, I know that would have been a pain in the butt, but
it was
the first time I played your copy, Ralph, with those, I was like, oh my god.
Oh, they make the sound when you jiggle the
so
back.
good.
However,
so good.
in saying that though, if people really want to go a little bit extra, and if people are interested in diving into this very, very deep pool, check out the Board Game Geek marketplace.
Yeah, there's so much stuff there.
You can actually check out the Geek store. You can actually buy resin versions of Quacks.
Yeah.
Resin
Really?
tokens. Yes.
Yeah,
That would be cool.
People come up with so
man.
much different
They
stuff.
cost about $110 Australian to get all the tokens for
There
all
was
the
someone who was
expansions.
teaching you how you could do it yourself. if
Yeah,
you
that
wanted to.
costs
Really?
even more to do
Really?
it. To do it.
I have to check this out. It
poured
sounds
acrylic.
really cool.
Well,
There is one accessory that I do want to buy, and I haven't
please
done it
do.
because it's purely like, I don't know, it feels like a selfish thing.
Yeah.
Like a board game bag. Something where you can
Ah,
actually
yeah.
properly put,
to
you
take
know,
away.
6 board games that are the normal box size and
Yeah.
just put it on your back.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I do think
I
that.
haven't taken the plunge on that one.
Mine is paper money. Paper money is hot garbage.
Yeah.
Get yourself
Iron
poker
clay.
chips.
Yeah,
Iron
those poker
clays.
chips.
If you can,
yeah.
if you can find them at a good price, get a set of iron clays.
I can
They
tell you
are
what-
amazing.
I can tell you what mine is. It's a board game table. I know it's so like with the most expensive accessory you can, but I want to get a board game table that doubles as my dining table because that's all the rage at the moment. And
You
to
can
be
eat
honest-
board games.
Huh?
You can
could-
eat board games.
I could eat board
Yeah.
games. That's exactly right. But that's my big one that I'm working towards at the moment. I do want to replace this and get like an 8-seater freaking
Yeah.
board game table.
So if you're
This would be amazing.
a table making company,
Matt
board,
has one.
we would love to
so-
review it.
Yeah.
Gameway or
Yeah, I think Matt's got a Gameway.
Matt's got a Gameway, so he really enjoys it, and
Yeah, it
we
looks
have played it.
amazing.
We did play TI on it, so we have used that table. We have christened it, so it was really
that's
good.
really great.
Nice.
So it was good.
Yeah,
but
it got a bit soaked in the water, but it's all good.
anyway, that's going to bring us to the end of this episode, guys. This has been a lot of a fun one. We're a bit cheeky tonight, but that's what happens when we haven't actually recorded. Like, hopefully the schedules means that we've got the episodes coming out regularly, but I really enjoyed this one. This was a lot of
Yeah,
a
it's
fun
always
one.
fun.
If you did
Yeah.
enjoy what you were listening to, please go ahead and check out. Please leave us a review, 5 stars, 4 stars, 1 star if you really want. Tell us what we could do better. I mean, look, we are always after new and innovative
Yeah,
ways
if
of
you're going to
bringing
give
this
us 1
podcast.
star, tell us why it's 1 star.
At least-
at
least give us that
Let
much,
us
right?
work on that.
If
Like,
you- But also, we'd love you to go over to our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube and type in @BG Gateway into the search bar. You'll find us there. We're on the push to 100 subscribers. We're pretty close. We're on 87 at the moment as of time of recording this. We also did just release our June Imperium round table discussion and first impressions. That is a kind of a pretty cool video as well. A new different kind of format that we're testing out. So go over and check over that. If you did enjoy this product, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that stuff. If you're on a podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, leave us a review. We'd love to see you guys and maybe recommend a friend, getting them into the board gaming hobby, all that kind of good stuff. Until then, though, go check out our Facebook group and all of our social media. And until next time, guys, we will see you in episode 43. Take care. Bye.
See ya.
there you go. Would you like a treaty?
Yum, yum.
Treaty? Treaty?
Why are you giving him the bone?
Fetch.
Giving him a bone.
We've been through this.
Actually, the door was right there. It's like,